When I started this series, I pulled 6 perimenopause books that have all been published in the last few years. I cross-referenced every symptom across all the books, and I came up with 82. And then I went back and I came up with over 100. But for this series, we're sticking with the 82 documented symptoms that I found. These are the 82 symptoms of perimenopause that most women have never been given a complete list of. And wow, do we have a storm rolling in as of right now. It has gotten so dark. In over 18 episodes, we have covered all of them. Today, we're going over the last 4 for now. The ones that did not really fit specifically neatly into a category episode, and the ones that needed their own space, their own careful handling, all of them. And one of them, I want to be honest with you, is the hardest one that I have covered in the entire series. I'm really excited that we have made it this far, but I also know I have almost as many more things to cover as we have covered, which I'm really excited to jump into and teach you about. This is my first big series on perimenopause. I anticipate doing the same thing for premenopause, menopause, postmenopause, and all sorts of things. But perimenopause is near and dear to me because that's where I am. And I have learned that there's a lot of you out there, and I'm hoping that I make you feel seen, and I hope that I can break things down to you in a way that is easily understood. Sorry, I'm having traffic go by. So welcome to the end of my first series, 82 Symptoms in Perimenopause, that we're probably not talking about. This is something really significant and awesome, and I'm going to celebrate it tonight. I might be going out for Mexican. Okay, first things first, headaches and migraines. Headaches and migraines. And this one affects a significant portion of women in perimenopause. And it has a very specific mechanism that most providers never explain. And I just experienced this in the last couple weeks. New onset headaches or a significant worsening of existing migraines is documented across all 5 of my original source books. And the driver, estrogen fluctuation. And here's the mechanism. Guess who is featured here? Yep, she's estrogen. Estrogen affects the sensitivity of pain receptors throughout your body, including the blood vessels and tissues in your head. When estrogen drops sharply, which it does with unprecedented, which it does repeatedly in the unpredictable fluctuation pattern, that is perimenopause, those pain receptors become more reactive. And the result is a headache or a migraine that tracks with the hormonal drop rather than with any external trigger. This is called an estrogen withdrawal headache. And there's our tornado siren of the menstrual cycle, when progesterone and estrogen both decline before a period. Women who have always had PMS headaches often find that they become significantly worse in perimenopause as your hormonal fluctuations become more dramatic. Migraines especially are affected by estrogen fluctuations in several ways. Estrogen influences serotonin levels, and serotonin plays a major role in migraine pathophysiology. The trigeminal nerve, which is involved in migraine pain, has estrogen receptors. I know you're not surprised. The whole system is estrogen sensitive. And when estrogen becomes unpredictable, the migraine pattern often also becomes unpredictable. So what helps? Tracking your headaches alongside your cycle and your hormonal symptoms. You can still do this if you've had a partial hysterectomy. If your headache cluster is in the late luteal phase, that is a strong signal for estrogen withdrawal as the driver. Magnesium has the strongest evidence among supplements for migraine prevention. Now, stable estrogen levels, which hormone therapy can provide, often significantly improve the migraine patterns in perimenopausal women. And this is part of the treatment conversation you need to have with your provider. So you want to know what helps. Tracking your headaches alongside your cycle and your hormonal symptoms is absolutely the starting point. If your headaches cluster in the late luteal phase, that is a strong signal for estrogen withdrawal as the driver. Magnesium has the strongest evidence amongst supplements to help affect the headache, the migraine, and can be considered potentially a migraine preventative. I believe it's magnesium glycinate, probably not citrate, but do your research. Stable estrogen levels, which hormone therapy can help provide, often significantly improve the migraine patterns in perimenopausal women. This is part of the treatment conversation that you need to have with your provider. All right, next. This one might be the hardest one to hear. Trigger warning, we're going to talk about suicidal ideation. And to be honest, this is probably going to be the hardest one for me to cover of all the things that we've talked about so far. And I am covering it because it's really important and because it tends to not get airtime and often tends to be a conversation that we don't want to have amongst ourselves for fear of things like guilt, shame, blame, I don't know. Pick it. But not covering it would be an absolute disservice to all of us. A disservice to the women watching this video right now who have experienced it and have never once heard it named in relation to hormones. Suicidal ideation is documented in a darker perimenopause presentation. It's listed in clinical literature, it's in the books, I've cross-referenced it, and it's almost never talked about in the perimenopause conversation because of stigma. The stigma around mental health, the stigma around perimenopause, the stigma around aging, the stigma around women, the stigma around all things that might make you uncomfortable, that combine into a silence that leave us completely alone with something that can be terrifying. So here's the mechanism. Severe sleep deprivation over time, which is quite honestly a reality for a majority of women, especially in perimenopause, is independently associated with suicidal ideation. Progesterone's decline removes the GABA receptors, mediated calming effects for the nervous system. Now, estrogen's role in serotonin and dopamine regulation means that its erratic fluctuation can create profound and sudden mood crashes, mood changes. And when all of those things happen at the exact same time in a woman who has no frame of reference for this, for why she's feeling what she's feeling about not wanting to participate or exist in the reality, that darkness can become very dark. Now, I'm not saying that perimenopause carries or causes suicidal ideation as a primary psychiatric condition. I am saying the hormonal environment of perimenopause can push someone who is already struggling into a place they've never been before. And that place deserves to be named and not whispered about, named, talked about. So if you're in that place right now, I need you to hear this. What you're experiencing has a psychological component. Your hormones are affecting your brain chemistry. This is real and it is documented. That doesn't make what you're feeling less real. That's not what I'm trying to do. It means that there is a reason, and reasons mean there are solutions. Please reach out the 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline. Call or text 988 to talk to someone who you can trust, talk to a provider, talk to somebody in your inner circle that you also trust. You don't have to white knuckle this alone. But if you're not in that place and you know somebody who is, or who might be, share this. Or have the conversation if you think that you can do that. Because the woman who needs to hear this, named out loud, may never go search for it herself. Okay. Breathlessness. Moving on. Breathlessness. Getting out of breath more easily than you ever have. And it's annoying. And this one really surprises people because we don't often think of our lungs as hormone dependent. But estrogen receptors exist in the lung tissue as well. Respiratory changes can accompany the perimenopause transition. The mechanism involves estrogen's role in maintaining airway tone and respiratory muscle function. So as estrogen declines, some women notice they get winded way more easily doing activities that never used to bother them. Climbing stairs, carrying things, exercise that used to be feeling manageable doesn't anymore. Also worth knowing, there is a sleep apnea connection. Now, we did cover this in the sleep episode, but estrogen supports upper airway muscle tone during sleep. Its decline increases the risk of sleep apnea or worsens existing sleep apnea. And untreated sleep apnea directly contributes to daytime breathlessness and fatigue. If breathlessness is significant or new, or accompanied by chest symptoms, cardiac causes should be ruled out first. So we covered the cardiovascular story in episode 4. The heart disease risk in perimenopause is real and warrants investigation. Once the cardiac causes are ruled out, the hormonal respiratory connection is worth exploring with your provider. Always rule out cardiac first. Next thing we're going to talk about is changes in taste and smell. Oh, how delightful. This is probably one of the most confusing symptoms in the 82 symptoms that I've covered, because it's so unexpected and so hard to explain to anybody who has not experienced it. I would liken it to being pregnant. You remember your taste buds changed, your smell changed? We're going to go with that. Sensory processing involves hormone receptors throughout the olfactory and gustatory systems, meaning your sense of taste and smell are produced by your hormones, meaning your sense of smell and taste are influenced by your hormones. So when estrogen fluctuates in perimenopause, sensory processing can shift. Women describe foods that used to be neutral tasting, suddenly tasting metallic or chemically. Smells that used to be pleasant are becoming overwhelming and unpleasant, and a general shift in sensory sensitivity that can feel very disorienting because there is no external explanation for it. This is one of the symptoms with the least clinical research behind it, but it's documented across all the books that I used for this series. The mechanism is plausible given what we know about estrogen's widespread sensory roles. And naming it matters because women experiencing it have often been told that nothing is wrong when something real is shifting. 82 symptoms. 6 books. 18 episodes. When I started this, I just wanted to build the map that I didn't have. I think I have that bugs crawling on me feeling today. That estrogen. Ugh. So when I started this, I just wanted to build a map. The map that I didn't have. The one that connected the dots between what was happening in my body and why. The one that would have saved me years of being dismissed and told I was too young and sent home without answers. The other day I was on socials, and the amount of people that I have seen that say, oh, it would have saved me years of being dismissed and told I was too young and sent home without any answers. I hope it has done that for you. This is not the end of Well Femme Mornings. It's just the end of the first chapter. The 82 Symptoms series. What comes next is going to be deeper. HRT in practice, peptides, nutrition, movement, the whole dang shebang, the toolkit. And I want your questions to lead that way. Drop them in the comments, send them to me, tell me what you need next. And if any of these 18 episodes gave you something that you needed, I'd love it if you would share it. Share it with the woman who is still searching, who's in premenopause, with the friend who's suffering in silence, with the daughter in her 30s, has no idea what's coming. This information belongs to all of us. Nothing I share here is medical advice. I'm not a doctor. I'm just a holistic nutrition student. I'm a coach. I'm a mom of 2, and I'm a woman living through this in real time. As always, do your own research. Take what resonates, leave what doesn't. Find a provider who listens. And girl, if you haven't done something to love yourself today, please go do that. And if you don't know what that looks like, send me a message. I'll help you out. Until next time, all my love.